lesson today our target is using a model to multiply 2-digit by 1-digit numbers. In this lesson, we're going to use the distributive property of multiplication. Multiplying two factors together will give us the same result, the same answer, as it would if we break one of those factors up into its two addends and then multiply through. So if we multiply 65 times 4, we will get the same answer as if we break that 65 up into 60 and 5 and multiply each of these two parts by 4. So let's look at what that looks like. The first problem we're going to look at is 9 times 14. My first step is I want to draw a 9 by 14 rectangle to represent my problem. Go down 9 and across 14 and then finish out my rectangle. And this is what it would look like if we're multiplying 9 by 14. Our next step is to break it down into its two addends. We're going to use distributive property to break apart that 14 into two smaller rectangles. So 14 is the same as 10 plus 4. Here we go. So I'm going to go over 10 and split it up, and now I have 9 by 10, or 9 times 10, and right next to it I have 9 by 4, or 9 times 4. Step 3, I want to find the product of each of those rectangles. So my first one, I'm going to say, what is 9 times 10? 9 times 10 is 90. And then I'm going to look and say, what is 9 times 4? And I know 9 times 4 is 36. Now that I've multiplied my two smaller rectangles, I can find the sum of those two products. So I'm going to bring down my 90, and I'm going to bring down my 36 and add them together. And I know 6 plus 0 is 6, and 9 plus 3 is 12. And there's my final answer, which I'm going to bring back up here to the top. And I know that 9 times 14 is 126. Let's go ahead and try another one like that. So again, my first step is going to be that I want to draw my 3 by 13 rectangle. So I'm going to go down 3, and I'm going to go across 13 and close out my rectangle. And there's my 3 by 13. Then, step 2, I'm going to use my distributive property and break it apart into my two smaller numbers, my two smaller rectangles, which means that I'm going to have 10 plus 3. So looking at 13, that's the same as 10 plus 3. I'm going to break that into my two smaller rectangles. Here's my first one, 3 by 10. And then my second one, 3 by 3. And now that makes those much easier problems to multiply. I can find the product of each of those. I know that 3 times 10 equals 30. And I know that 3 times 3 equals 9. And now all I have to do is find my sum and add those together. 30 plus 9. 9 plus 0 is 9. And then 3. Nothing to add it to, so I'm going to bring it straight down. And 3 times 13 is 39. Let's do one more just to make sure that we've got it. All right, again, I'm going to start by drawing my larger rectangle. I'm going to go down 6 here on the side, and I'm going to go across 16 close out my rectangle. There it is. Now I need to break my 16 down into my two parts. So 16 is going to break down into 10 and 6. So going over 3, 6, 9, 10. I have a 6 by 10. And I have a 6 by 6. Our third step, we're going to do the multiplication for each of those parts. So 6 times 10 is our first one. 6 times 10 is going to give us 60. And then, now we're saying 6 times 6, and I know that fact, 6 times 6 is 36. And I've written them right under each other, lined them up. So now I can just add. 6 plus 0 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. And I have 6 times 16 equals 96. And we're going to want to pick up after this with a few more practice problems.